Hello everybody and welcome to Jeff the Pharmacist. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. So I'm shooting on location. I'm at my husband's parents' house in Taichung, Taiwan. So I'm on vacation, so I'm trying to keep it festive. But I wanted to use this time I'm on vacation, so it's a time to reflect. So I wanted to talk about the pros and cons of retail pharmacy. And I wanted to make this video for anybody who's kind of interested in becoming a retail pharmacist or interested in pharmacy in general, and kind of just a little picture into what kind of is the pros and cons of retail pharmacy. So I'm going to start out with a con so it can end on a positive note. So the first con of being a retail pharmacist is that you are constantly disappointing people. So I like to think of it as I'm a disappointment manager. We are constantly telling people we don't have a product in stock. Their insurance isn't covering their prescription. You know, I have to call the doctor because of a drug interaction. There's just tons of disappointment, and you know, it's hard you know, to think about the ideal kind of experience for the customer. Would be one where they come up to the counter, they have no wait in line, they have a kind of a smiling face in front of them, somebody who's really positive. They get their medication. If they have counseling, they get that and they get out the door and they get on their way. But sometimes, you know, they come up to the counter, it's like, well, we're sorry, we don't have the medication in stock, or we're sorry, it's $1,000 copay. So we kind of manage these difficult scenarios, and that's really kind of a big, I guess it's a big con, it's a challenge. You know, it's positive in the sense that you learn how to deal with it, and it kind of helps with your interaction with people. You just kind of gain that skill, but it's very stressful. So that's why I put it in the con column. Another con is the kind of the maybe 1% of customers, or less than 1% of customers, who are just psycho, crazy, entitled people that want everything for free. They're willing to put in 20 hours of complaint writing to get $5 off their prescription. Just the really crazy people is a big con. You know, you're dealing with the public, and you have people that are just mean, nasty, evil people, and you're going to deal with that, and that's a big con because they take up a lot of your time. So even though it's less than 1% of people, you know, you get most people come in, and it's very easy to deal with them. And then there's a couple that just, honestly, they probably drive a lot of pharmacists out of the profession. Another con of retail pharmacy is most companies do not have breaks. So there's a few exceptions to that, but most companies, they don't have breaks, and you are standing all day, and that can kind of take a toll on your knees, especially if you have that extra carbohydrate baby. And you know, that can you know, that can be, I guess it can be rough. I mean, some people complain about, you know, the sitting at a desk all day, but it's kind of the opposite with pharmacy, really standing all day, and that can be you know, that can hurt after a 12-hour shift. So pharmacy is continuing to get more and more competitive. So the reason that's occurring is companies don't know how to grow. The whole goal of a company is to grow and grow and grow and add shareholder value, and basically grow at a rate that's higher than inflation. And what you're seeing is more and more pharmacies opening up in the same area. So you're seeing it's incredibly competitive, and that drives the profit margins down, and that increases the pressure of working in a company like that. And what ends up occurring is people managing the business will look and say, okay, well, we need to figure out ways to reduce help that the pharmacists have, and that's what you see is just really scrambling on how can we cut labor, how can we improve profit margin. And a lot of times that just adds extra pressure. So you know, that's that's definitely a con. Having less help to work with, and you having more on your plate. So insurance companies often will not cover prescription, and I used to get a lot where patients would come up and say, my doctor wrote the prescription, why wouldn't the insurance cover it? It's like, you think you have coverage, but it's not really coverage if your insurance company is only going to cover 100 drugs. So I'm seeing that more and more where insurance companies just won't cover things. Like, it's like, I've done a couple videos on ED drugs. Viagra is like, a lot of time is not covered, or it requires a prior authorization, which is when someone from your doctor's office has to get on the phone with your insurance company and justify why they're prescribing it. And I know doctors hate it because it kind of cuts into their professional authority to write a prescription. Is okay, now they have to call the insurance company and justify it. And probably the last con is working in a drugstore is not quite as prestigious for, it's not quite as impressive as working in a clinical setting or in a hospital. And for some people that's more important than others. So there are a lot of pros to being a retail pharmacist. The major con of being a retail pharmacist is customer related, and the major pro of being a retail pharmacist is also customer related. You have an opportunity to impact a lot of customers, a lot of people, to make a positive contribution to their lives. You develop real meaningful relationships with a lot of people. So I might know 500, 600 people by their name. I can look at them and I know their name and they know my name, and most of them have nice things to say about me, and that's kind of nice for someone like me. I'm kind of extroverted and I like to have an impact on a lot of people, and I feel that in retail pharmacy, and that's kind of you get some of those warm fuzzy feelings when somebody's like, oh my god, I'm so happy you're back from vacation. You might have had your weekend, and they're like, oh my god, I'm so glad you're here. And just feeling that connection is really nice. And you meet a lot of really super cool patients. Not everybody wants to punch you in the jaw or cuss you out. Most people are really super cool, and you can like I said before, you can make an impact on their lives and their care. So I manage my pharmacy, and the way most companies are set up, they have a supervisor, but those supervisors are spread pretty thin, so you do have a degree of independence on managing your own shop, and that's nice for somebody who cherishes like me, who appreciates their own independence. The last kind of pro to it, and it's obviously very important, retail pharmacy pays extremely well. An entry-level job in a retail pharmacy pays better than an entry-level job as a hospital, like a staff pharmacist in a hospital. So that's definitely a pro. Obviously there's a lot of pressures involved with being a retail pharmacist. You're on your feet all day, so there's actually a physical aspect of the job. I mean, we're not putting in roofing material, or we're not installing air conditionings. We're not doing an actual high labor job, but standing up all day is actually a physical endeavor. So there's a lot of pressure involved. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys found it useful. Please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.